So I'm going to do things a little bit different today. Instead of doing the song, let me put this over here. Instead of doing the song, because we have a great song that is going to be sung by a phenomenal singer, David Allen Cruz, Dr. David Allen Cruz. Um, but before we do that, I want to do my talk first because it slides into it. Um, Swan, do I have the? Sorry, you know what? If you don't mind doing it from up there, that'd be fine. I don't want you to run down here. And I'm sorry, I told everybody except for Swan that we were doing the that we weren't going to do. We were going to do the talk first and the song later. So she's got the slides a little bit differently. But I want to start with this quote by it's from the the Gospel of Thomas. It's if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth. In the quote, it actually says will save you, but I like the idea of it frees you. And the reason I have this quote up is because for whatever reasons, as I was thinking about what my talk was going to be about, this quote kept showing up at the forefront of just everywhere I was going. Somehow this came up like, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth sets you free. Like it kept showing up as a recurring thing. So I thought, all right, I know there's got to be a way here that this ties into forgiveness. And in the exploration of it all, it does. Because I realize that when you bring forth what is within you, and forgiveness is something that is within you, when you bring forth what is within you, then that is the very thing that sets you free. There is that thing within us, and I know that we all know this, that there is a place that lives, breathes in us that is constantly there, growing, expanding, pure consciousness, pure possibility, pure love, pure allness. That is what I'm talking about, bringing forth. And then we move through life and things show up and experiences and people and all this stuff. And we sort of, I feel like sometimes we just sort of pat that down. And when I say bring forth what is within you, I'm not talking about the purpose that you have in life. You might have a million purposes. You might have one purpose. I don't know. You may have a million desires. You might have one desire. I don't know. When I talk about what is within us, what is within each and every one of us, I'm talking about this divine energy of God, of love, of the universe, of whatever it is that you choose to call it. I'm talking about that energy that resides within us. And when we tap into it and know who we are, when we remember who we are, this is the energy that creates. So with this quote and with forgiveness, I realize that forgiveness, along with bringing up whatever is within us, is what creates, really creates. Because we're constantly creating no matter what, right? It doesn't matter what energy you're coming forth with. You're either creating from anger or you're creating from love. You're either creating from fear or you're creating from acceptance. You're either creating from something just enormous that is even beyond you and you know it, or you're creating from a small place. You're always creating. But when you understand that you're creating from that place within you that is divine, that is source, that is love, that is just bigger than any word that I could ever use, you understand that there is, with that type of knowing, you can move mountains. There is nothing that you cannot do. That is the energy that is within that creates when we forgive. Next slide, Swan. Without forgiveness, there is no future. It's a quote by Desmond Tutu. And when I saw that, I understood what he meant by there is no future, meaning there is no way of creating from a place that is just, as Dr. James says, as Kevin just said, Reverend Kevin just said, this quantum field. If you're going to create from a place of quantum, if you're going to create from a place of the universe, if you're going to create from a grander place that you know exists, that is exactly who you are, that you may not be experiencing right now, you have to understand that forgiveness is going to be a part of it, strictly because we've lived our lives, we've been around people, we've had experiences that may, as Kevin said, maybe put us a little bit, being in a relationship that is gone may have put you in a vulnerable space that you no longer want to show. Those are the things that we forgive in order to be able to create. And so forgiveness, when he said, if there's no forgiveness, there is no future. To me, when there's no forgiveness, there's no way to create from that space that is within. And also, when we look around what's happening in the world today, there's no denying all of the aggressiveness that is happening, all of the place that is coming from, and I don't want to say hate, I want to say it's coming from a place of fear. And not to get political, but I will say, if there was more forgiveness, more ability to open, to understand, there would be a better way to move into a future that we're actually excited about versus fearful of. And I would venture to say that sometimes when we look in the news, it's easy to start to go where, I have 2 children, and I begin to think, what's the legacy that we are leaving our children right now? And, as most of you know, on Wednesdays I do a prayer just to elevate the consciousness. And even if it's just for that minute, I know that it is in service of that. And so when Desmond Tutu says here, without forgiveness, there's no future, that means forgive everything and everyone, not just me right here, my circle, I'm right, and I need to forgive them. No, I need forgiveness as well for the thoughts that I've had that might other people. And I do that. I know I do that. And I try to become centered in a place where I forgive myself to be able to forgive others. I can't forgive you if I don't forgive myself first for being in a place where I need to forgive you. Does that make sense? If I'm judging you, then I'm judging you, but I'm going to forgive you. Well, then what's that about? I got to forgive myself first for judging, and then from that space, be able to forgive. Not that I have to forgive you guys, but you know what I mean. Forgiveness is something we bring forth. That's what I want to really say here. Forgiveness is an energy that we bring forth. It's not something that we do for others. It's not something that we do for any situation. It's not anything that we actually do. It's an energy that we bring forth from within, from that energy that is within, so that we can forgive from a place that we just let it go. Next slide. With forgiveness, you empower yourself. Without forgiveness, you empower the past. That's Pastor T.D. Jakes who said that. And he talks a lot about forgiveness. When I was looking into some of his talks and some of his writings, he talks a lot about how forgiveness is not for the weak, that it's for the strong. And that's when I really got to contemplate this quote and other quotes that he had. It made me realize that forgiveness is about the evolving of the self, because we're constantly evolving. Our consciousness is constantly evolving. You'll walk out of here, even if it's nothing from my talk, there will be something that happened, a person that you spoke to, a taco that you ate, whatever, that will somehow speak to you in a way that transforms you. That is transformation. That is something that we're constantly seeking all the time. And that changes us. It changes us. Sometimes when we're in a place where we don't want to be, it might change us in a place that we don't like to go to. But we come here exactly for the opposite, so that we're here to be transformed, to be in alignment, to be reminded that who I am can change an entire world all by myself. Right? Do you know that you can do that? Yeah. Do you know that? Do you know that you have the ability, if no one else stood with you, that you could change an entire community? Do you know that? One person knows it? Maybe. You can. Yes, you can. You have to know you can. And forgiving is a tool, as Kevin and I spoke about. Forgiving is a tool that helps you get to the other side, so you understand, I can change a community, even if it's just me by myself. If that is a choice that I have, if that is a purpose that I want to be here for, I can change a community, and that community can change the world. That's what we're here to do. We know that this consciousness that we have isn't just something that we share with each other on a Sunday and maybe on a Wednesday. It's something that we take to others. We come here to take the energy that we grow from to expand in different directions with others. And that's why I came full circle about forgiveness. Because I didn't want to talk about it, I would have changed the theme if it were up to me. But now, because I understand that it's a process of evolution, it makes me so happy. And right here, even with this, with forgiveness, you empower yourself. Without forgiveness, you empower the past. I don't want to empower the past. I want to empower my future. And if I want to empower my future, I need to empower myself, right? Forgiveness is that bridge from the past to the future. to get from one space to the other through forgiveness. So the second part of the quote from the Gospel of Thomas is, if you don't bring forth what's within you, what you don't bring forth will destroy you. Now, that's pretty big. I didn't want to write that. I don't like to end on a negative. But I do want to bring it up because this is true. If you don't bring forth that forgiveness that lies within you, you're doomed to it. You're doomed to live it over and over and over and over. I remember when I separated from the father of our children, my children, I was really angry. I was pissed. Like, I was mad. And I was going to scorch the earth with his face. And I know, terrible. I'm not there anymore. But I remember at one point I was talking to someone she'd been divorced for 20 years, and her anger matched my recent anger. And in that moment, I was like, do I want to be here in 20 years? I don't want to be here. I don't want to carry this. And I had to learn to release it. So I took classes, I came here. It is the big reason that I'm standing up here as a minister, as a doctor, is because I wanted to be able to give myself to a place where I could forgive myself first and then be able to forgive him and really forgive him. And I did, and I do, although sometimes he does annoy me, but that's okay. No, I'm just kidding. He does. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm grateful that we're in a place where we can actually co-parent together, that we can talk, that we can pick up the phone, that we can celebrate when our children are doing something well. We'll pick up the phone and call each other. That's a wonderful place to be in. Not somewhere where I'm mad and resentful and trying to figure out how I'm going to avenge what happened to me 20 years ago, you know? And so this quote is that reminder, is I don't want to live dragging my past with me everywhere I go, that when you see my face, the first thing you see is anger. I want you to know that when you see me, you see love, you see fun, you see forgiveness, because I start forgiveness with me. Can I have the next slide? Forgiveness is an act of liberation that allows you to reclaim your energy that is tied up in the wound. That's what forgiveness is. Because as Reverend Kevin was saying, that part of what we want to do with forgiveness is release the energy that is tied up, right? I mean, we're all energy. That's really at the base and the core of what we are. It's energy. And when you walk into a room and the energy is really heavy, when you walk in, you're like, oh, I don't want to be here. And when you walk into a room and there's a room full of fun, that's energy. You haven't spoken to a person. You don't know what's going on. You have no idea what happened, but you walk into the room and you can feel either the celebration or you can feel the angst, right? Am I right? You've walked into rooms like that, 100%. The frequency of the wound that you have from what you have not forgiven is what you're releasing through forgiveness, right? You don't want to have that tied to a wound that you don't want to carry anymore. Much like I said, forgiving my ex, forgiving myself first. And I will tell you, forgiveness to me is a constant. When I say I forgive myself, I didn't just forgive myself once and move on. I find myself forgiving myself often so that I can move on to the next thing. And if there's someone or something or some situation that I need to forgive, I do that too. But forgiveness starts with me. And forgiveness allows you to reclaim the energy, that energy that is tied up in the wound, so that it's not around you. It is, as it says here, an act of liberation. There's a Zen proverb that says, let go or be dragged. It is a good one. Simple, you get it. Let go or be dragged. I don't want to be dragged. Can I have the next slide, Swan? Forgiveness blocks the flow of creativity, intuition, and calling. When you release resentment, your gifts return to you. It's kind of like the last slide we just had, right? And the reason I bring this up is because that which is within you, as I spoke about earlier. When you bring forth what is within you, what is within you frees you. And what is within you is creation. It's creativity. That's what it is. And so with forgiveness, you allow yourself to remove those blocks. Remove the blocks of creativity, remove the blocks remove the blocks that stop your creativity, remove the blocks that stop your intuition so that you can create from a larger space than you know. And you know when you see someone who has removed those blocks, who is in deep connection with their clarity, with their intuition, with their creativity. You see the artwork that happens. You see the songs that are written, that are played. You just see it in the face of the person when that flow is moving through so brilliantly and so beautifully. And forgiveness is part of that. Next slide. This one you saw. As I said, you don't forgive because you're weak. You forgive because you're evolving. And I just love that image because that's exactly what forgiveness does. And so the other part of forgiveness and forgiving that I really got to is that it's not just forgiving. It's forgiving. Forgiving to myself, forgiving to my family, forgiving to my community, and forgiving to the world. Forgiving. I'm releasing the energy, the wounds that no longer serve me, forgiving of my creativity, forgiving of my intuition, forgiving of my talent, forgiving of my love to everybody around. So when I'm forgiving, I'm forgiving and against nothing. Forgiving, you give to yourself, and it's a place of freedom. Can I have the next slide, please? So the title of my talk is Forgiving, the Evolution of Empowerment, or Get the Hell Out of the Well. And I have to tell you this really funny story. Dr. Lori and I were talking about, I was going through something, and she was really helping me walk through what I was going through. And I said, you know what, Lori, I feel like I can't dig myself out. Like everywhere I'm looking, I just cannot seem to dig myself out. And I was really what I was trying to do is convince her of my problem. Like, come down here, wait, come here, Lori, come and look at my problem so you can see why this is happening. And she said, you just need to get the hell out of the well. Because I told her it felt like I was in a well that I couldn't get out of. And she said, I'm going to stand here in this place of knowing exactly who you are. I'm going to listen to what you're saying and what you're going through. I'm going to honor the feelings and the emotions that are happening because of it. She's like, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't be feeling your feelings, that you should do all these things. I'm going to stand here and honor what's happening to you. And I'm going to reach from above the well and help you up. And as she spoke, it was like I was climbing out of the well. And again, what I realized that I had to do is forgive myself for being there. Because I was also making myself wrong. You stand up here and I'm like, I'm a minister, I'm a doctor, I should know better than to be here where I am right now. Like, oh, I'm so mad and I'm so sad and now I'm mad because I shouldn't be here, I should know better, and quantum. Where's my possibility? And she said, no, honor where you are. Because if you don't honor where you are, it's going to stay with you. It will linger with you. So as we move through it, and she's both her and Karen are going to be down in Deepening Roots this coming weekend. And she's going to be doing a really amazing workshop that I hope she brings here because she used the techniques from her workshop, which were somatic techniques, to help me sort of elevate myself from where I was and to get into a different space. But forgiving, it's the evolution of empowerment. I never thought of forgiving, even though I heard Pastor T.D. Jake say, forgiving is not for the weak, it's for the strong. I'm like, yeah. But I really have come to terms with the fact that forgiving is really a place of empowerment. Not just strength, but empowerment. empowerment for myself, empowerment for my community around me, empowerment for my children. So I want to talk a little bit about this energy. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. I got ahead of myself. But I want to talk a little bit about this and circle back to what I was saying before about the frequency of forgiveness, because that's what we're really going for, right? This is really what we're looking for, is the frequency of our own forgiveness. And as I was researching songs, I realized that I wanted something that was upbeat but really spoke to me about just my life, like how to live my life from a place of empowerment. Because with the quote from what is within, like bringing my gifts from within, to figuring out what forgiveness was, to moving into like the frequency of forgiveness, to moving into just energy and forgiveness, or energy and frequency in general. I started to think about it. I'm not going to get political, but I started to think about, the whole upheaval about Bad Bunny speaking in Spanish at the Super Bowl. And what really struck me is that it wasn't the language that we really needed to be concentrating on. It was the energy of the song, right? It's the energy. Like, you can't help but really want to get up and dance. I mean, it was super fun. It was a very fun thing to do. And in forgiveness, in being in a frequency, in understanding that when we're speaking to each other, the words that we use, the songs that we sing to each other, how we come across with each other, it is all energy, frequency, vibration, and love. Love is what we're looking for, right? I say love because to me, it is all love. It just might be a low vibration of love that is experienced as something that's might not come across as love, but it is still love, because love is all there is. It's just the vibrancy and the frequency. So when I chose this song by Mark Anthony, it's called Vivir mi vida. And one of the things that really struck me about, it's a fun song. We're going to have fun. I invite you guys to sing to it too. But one of the things that really struck me about the song was he talks about he's going to be in the moment to understand his destiny. And really what he means is what he's creating in the future, right? The song is about understanding what you're creating in the future by being in the moment. And I went, that's right. That's the other gift that forgiveness gives us. It brings us to the present moment. It brings us to what is happening right here and right now. It brings us to the understanding of the experience that we're having. That's forgiveness, being in this moment, and then having the ability to choose what we do next. How we change our frequency if we need to, how we expand our frequency if we need to. But that's exactly what it is. So my question to you guys to end here today is, how will you choose to vivir tu vida? Namaste.